Okay, welcome to this introduction to Adobe Flash. What we're going to be doing in this program here is we're going to be learning how to make a basic animation using Adobe Flash. Now, when you open the program up, you get a typical screen. Looks like this. Now, I'm just going to do a basic Flash file, which is an action script version 3.0. So we just click on that one there, and it opens up there. Now, quick little orientation. This white rectangle around there, that is called the canvas. That's the area that you're going to be working on, and that's what people will see when you make your animation. This grey area around the outside, the workspace, that's a place where you can put things and you can do your drawings and stuff there, but they won't actually get seen. Alright, and now up above here is a thing called the timeline, and what we have along the top here are the frames. So right now my project only has one frame, and the playhead, this orange thing here, is set at frame 1. Now what I'm going to do is quickly walk through how to make a simple little stick figure man throw a basketball through a hoop. Now first thing I want to do is I want to take this layer and I want to rename it. So I'll just double click that there and I'll call it man. That's it. Now I'm going to use the brush tool there. Now my color is about orange, that's fine. So I'm just going to quickly draw a stick figure there. There he is. Now I want to take this man and I want to group all those little elements together into one single unit. So I'm going to select it. So I go up there, use the selection tool, select him, and you can tell that the whole thing's selected. They've got little dots all over it. I'm going to go up here and go modify and convert to symbol. Now I'm going to give it the name man, and I'm going to make sure that it says graphic. Then I click OK. Now what happens is the little man here, see now he's a single unit, I can click him and push him around, and he exists over here in the symbol library. Okay, now what's really handy about the symbol library is that once the man's in there, if I click delete because he's selected, he's gone, but since he exists in my symbol library, I can open the library and I can just grab him and drag him back. Not only that, I can drag multiple copies of him there, which is quite handy if you want to make a whole bunch of crowds. Now that I've got the man and he's on his own layer, I want to put in, say, like a little basketball ring, a little hoop. Now, when you're working with animations, every object, as a general rule, should be on its own layer. So that way you can move them independently of one another. So I'm going to create a new layer here. Click the little new layer button there. Now double click layer 2 there and call it hoop. Now I'm going to change the fill color to something else. So my hoop is something else. Now the difference between this button here and this one here is that this is the stroke. If you're doing, say, an object, say like an ellipse or a shape like that, the stroke will be the line that goes around the outside of it, whereas the bucket here is the fill of it, okay, what it's colored in with. So I'm going to go back to my brush tool here. I'm going to quickly do myself a little simple basketball hoop. In fact, I don't like the look of that, so I might go back there and quickly make it a bit more elliptical like that. Come down, we'll put a little net in there quickly. Okay, we all understand what's going on there. A little backboard perhaps. There we go. Now I don't want that thing to move, I don't want it to do anything at all. So what I'm going to do is select that and make that its own object. I'll call it hoop. Graphic, it's already done. Click that and that's done. So I've got man and I've got the hoop. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer, and this is going to be the ball. Now the ball, I'm just going to use the ellipse tool for, the oval tool. Now if you don't see that, in Flash and like a lot of Adobe products, these little buttons here in the toolbars, you can see a little tiny thing down in the bottom corner there. Okay, a little triangle. If you hold the button down, that little triangle tells you there are other types of tools that are kind of related. Okay, but I've already got the oval tool selected, so what I'm going to do is drag myself out a ball. Now the ball is probably going to be about that big there, so I let go. Then I just realised I don't want that colour, so I'll Command Z or Control Z on a PC, undo that and quickly go here and change it to, say, I don't know, green. Green will do. And I'll do about the same colour, green. So I'll use the ellipse tool again, draw out a little circle, and there we have it. I've got the ball. Now the ball, I want to make that a symbol too. Now the shortcut is F8, which on a Mac you have to press function and then F8, or you could just go modify, convert to symbol. So there we go. So if I go over to my library now, I should have 3 objects here. I've got the man, I have the ball, and the hoop and the ball. I'll hide that there, go away. Now, when I'm doing an animation, there's many frames there. Now, if I make the ball, if I want the ball to last for say 40 frames, I could go all the way here, and I'll need to right click and go insert frame. So now the playhead will allow me to go all the way to frame 40. But you'll notice that the other 2 layers disappeared. That's because they don't exist yet down here. They only exist in the frame there. So when I get all the way back to frame 1, they reappear again. So I want these other objects to be there as well. So what I need to do is select both those layers. And a really cool little trick is click and drag down and select them both, then right click and then go insert frame. Now all my objects are here for 40 frames. Go beyond that and they all disappear. Now my ball is the thing that I want to animate. I want it to move. So what I'm going to do is actually quickly I'll move my man into position so I've got a good point of reference there. I'll go back to my ball layer there. Now I want the ball to move. So what I'm going to do is I am going to create what's called a motion tween. Now I select that. Now when you deselect it, you see that the ball layer up in the timeline, it becomes blue. That indicates a motion tween. Now I've got my ball selected, so what I do is I go back to the start. That's where he starts. And now, if I were to go, say, over to frame 40, then I could just click and move him across, and that will do. Now, when I go back to the start and then drag that playhead along, you can see that Flash figures out where the ball should be between frames 1 and frame 40 and puts them in between there for me. However, okay, and here's the thing, I don't want just a simple motion like that. I want the ball to go up and through the hoop and down again. So what I need to do is I need to get this path not to be straight, because a ball doesn't go in a straight line. Now Flash allows me to do this while I've got this ball layer selected. Once I hover near the path, you can see a little curved line appears in my cursor. When I move away, it disappears again. While that curved line is there, I click and I can bend and shape this path to whatever path I want. I could do that, and now when I move the playhead, the ball will follow that path. Now it doesn't look quite natural, so I'll go to frame 40 here and probably move him sideways a bit. And just move that whole bit around there. Okay, so we'll go back to the start and let's have a look. Oops. Now see I moved that hoop a bit, so I might move that hoop backwards a bit. Try that again. Now that's looking very basic. It gets the idea across. However, one last thing that I want to point out is you can see when we get here to about frame 28, 29, you can see that the ball's actually sitting in front of the hoop. Now, that's all got to do with layers. Now you can see that the ball over here, the ball layer, is in front of the hoop layer. Now what I want at this point, I want the hoop to be closest to the viewer. I want it to be in front of the ball. So what I do is I want the hoop to be highest. Okay, because the highest layer is the thing that's at the very, very front. Now you can see the ball looks like it's gone behind. So now when I play the playhead, drag it backwards and forwards, it seems to go through. Now some more astute people will notice that it actually moves behind it completely. The only way to really get out of that would be to chop off the hoop at that point and that point and make that its own layer and then push that to the background, but we won't worry about that for now. Now if you want to preview it, you can press enter and it plays it in real time. And if you want to publish it, file, we could do a publish preview and a flash window and it will just go over, going into an infinitely looping through it again and again until you like what you've got. when the time comes, what you could do is you could export it as a movie, and then we could just call it basketball. I might dump it on the desktop there and click export. It makes the movie, and that is that.